Today is the day. I'm so excited. I literally just unboxed my new Angel machine. It's a slow masticating machine. I plugged it in, I prepared my vegetables, and I'm ready to try it out. So I thought, what better way to try it out than right on camera. I was impressed by the way that it feels. It feels solid, it feels tight. I turned it on, I like the way that it sounds, meaning everything feels tight. What you don't want is that wiggling and things aren't quite in the way they're supposed to be. I'm just gonna get to it. I did some bok choy, I have some cucumber, I have some celery. I'm really curious to see how it does on these vegetables. I did a bunch of lemons. Admittedly, I spent a little more time cutting these up than I normally would through my Breville. I just would slam it. Literally, you can just take this whole thing and put it right through the Breville. So I think that I'm going to anticipate that it's going to take more time to make my juice. I kind of measure this in quarts. Let me see if I've got a quart. This one. I literally measure this in quarts. And in my Breville, it takes me about 5 minutes to juice and then a quick rinse, clean up. I anticipate this is going to take me 30 to 35 minutes to get a quart of juice. We'll see. I would love to be pleasantly surprised. But again, I don't want to break my machine on day one, so I did go ahead and slice things more smaller than I usually would. We're going to go ahead and give this a whirl, turn it on. It's not too loud. Some juice machines, I can't talk and do a video when the juice machine's on. And I think I'll start with the cucumber. Ooh, where did I put? I was selfish and I already put my box away with my, I'm really not sure which one to use yet. One of them has a little ring around it so that you have so it's real tight. You never want to put your fingers into your juice machine. I'm not going to go with the ring. I'm going to go with this one. All right. And we begin. Try a little bok choy. That's what I like to see. I want to see it grabbing what I'm putting in there. Okay, so far so good. So you have to understand, if you've been juicing for years and you've been settling on less than juice machines, the very first time you get a great machine, I'm kind of in awe. I'm going to try some ginger, see what happens. What I'm looking at is there's a couple augers, and it's literally, there's no room. They're super tight, just like this. And it's literally grabbing my vegetable and crushing it. And you can see, I think you guys can see, I'm actually getting a really good amount of juice. I'm going to go ahead and do some more bok choy, some more celery. I'm going to go with a bigger piece of celery, see if it grabs it. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. You know what? When you have a good juice machine, this process is actually fun. So I'm finding out. When you are frustrated with your machine and it's clogging up and you have to keep turning it off. And by the way, I'm going to assume that because this is day one when I'm using this, I might have those problems down the road. I can reverse it. And that kind of gets things going the other direction. And I'm going to go ahead and start it up again. And that's what you do when things get clogged up. So I haven't even put, honestly, that many vegetables in here. But I really am getting a fair amount of juice. And in a second, I'm going to go ahead and grab my pulp, and we'll see how dry it is. We're going to give it a squeeze test. I really like the way that it's doing celery. Sometimes those celery strings can get tied around these juice machines. I'm not seeing that. So yeah, I spent about $1,600 or $1,700 on this machine, and it was a decision that I really, debated over. Should I spend that much? What if I just get, one for $500? I could buy 3 of those for the price of this. All these things go through my mind. And a friend of mine said, you know, you've been doing this so long, just go for it. So in the past, I've had commercial machines that I've been my very first machine, when I first opened the Raw Food Institute, I said, I'm going for it. I'm going to invest in a $3,000 machine, and I did. And it was terrible. And it never worked. I do remember the day that I threw it away. I vividly remember that day. Because it had given me so many headaches and so much trouble repairing parts, replacing parts, and it never worked. So it's interesting because then I've had inexpensive ones, $300. I remember I bought the Omega. Everybody raved about the Omega, and they had a sale, $250 or $300, and I bought 3 of them. Well, what had happened, I think, is that right around that same time they changed, and they went from all stainless steel to plastic. My parts were plastic. And I used it at the Raw Food Institute, and all 3 machines broke in the first week. No more Omegas. So I've used the Champion. I used to have a Champion. That was the very first one I did. It's double auger like this, but it was so hard to put together. I had to literally line them up. Admittedly, this one was really easy. Because that was my first, and I was like, oh, I can't get another double auger. They drove me crazy, but double auger. Double auger. So I put it together right away. Easy, so easy. Sometimes you hear people say things on videos and you think, I don't know about that. I've tried that before. But this is so far so good. So far, day 1, I'm happy. All right. For video purposes, let me come on up and I'm going to show you my pulp. And I'm going to show you how much juice we have. Let's see if we can. You know what? Admittedly, I can squeeze some juice out of this. So that's interesting. You're not supposed to be able to squeeze juice out of this. When I can squeeze juice out of my pulp, and it might be because I'm doing cucumbers. But when I can squeeze juice out of my pulp, what I do for sure, and we might do this just because it's interesting, is I put that back through and I see how much juice I can get. Now, even with that small amount of juice, I still have quite a bit. Let's kind of measure it. It's poured into my quart jar. I'm sorry, a small amount of vegetables. I haven't even gone through a full cucumber yet, and I have, almost 2 cups of juice. Let's go ahead and put it in again. Meaning I'm going to run my pulp through and see what happens. This will be interesting. Because I like to be economical. We spend a lot of money on these fresh organic vegetables, and we want to make sure that we get all the juice out of them, right? I learned this trick. It was funny because I was juicing for years before I learned this trick to take your pulp and put it through your juice machine. And when I did, I used to get in my fast machines, about an extra cup of juice. I'm getting a lot of juice from this pulp. I'm thinking it's because that we did cucumber. And I'm curious about what it's going to do with wheatgrass. Curious. Anyway, nevertheless, I'm still getting a ton of juice. I think it's a really good quality. And opposed to my fast machine, this juice you can store and use for up to 3 days. Okay, just for fun, I want to do one more thing. I want to actually juice some wheatgrass. And we'll see how we do. So let me go grab a tray. Now if I were storing this, naturally I would want to use ceramic. Because just like, if you cut an apple with a metal scissor or metal knife. Oh, this is going to be fun. Okay, well, let me finish that. When you cut an apple with a metal knife, it will oxidize and start turning brown. When you cut an apple with a ceramic knife, it will stay fresh. So that's why we like to cut wheatgrass, because you can harvest your wheatgrass and keep it in your refrigerator for up to 2 weeks. So I like to put the pointy side of my wheatgrass down, and then it's just going to grab it. My wheatgrass, admittedly, is only 6 days old. It will grow more. I want to let it grow at least 7 days. It can be 7 to 10 before I harvest it. But because my juice machine came, I can't wait. I'm going to go ahead and make the wheatgrass. Now, what I am impressed with so far is that it's really given me, I think, a high yield on my wheatgrass. I'm only looking for 1 or 2 ounces when I do wheatgrass, and I think I've already got that in there. So I'm pretty happy with my wheatgrass yield. Let me grab a cup. See how much wheatgrass I have. Yeah, I have about an ounce. It smells like wheatgrass. Okay, I couldn't wait to show you guys my new slow masticating machine. I hope that you enjoyed that. And again, post pictures, please, because I really want to see what you're up to, what you're drinking. I want to see your green juice. And of course, if you have a slow masticating machine, shot of wheatgrass. And by the way, you don't need a $1,600 machine. There is a hand crank machine for about $50 that does wheatgrass as well as this. And there's no motor. It is a workout because you literally have to go like, you clamp it to a table or countertop and you literally go like this. But hey, it's a great workout and you get your wheatgrass. I bought it because I like to take it on camping trips or things like that, travel. It's great for that, really little, really compact, and it actually works. So show me what you guys are up to. Show me what you're working on in your kitchen, your green juice, your grass juice, and we'll see you in the next video.